Hello and welcome to Low Budget Gaming and welcome to the GOG Spring Sale. So GOG is another website that sells games, DRM-free games, and they've started the sale as well from the 20th of March until the 3rd of April. Now, as always, I have a bunch of games on sale here, but before I do that, I wanted to briefly talk about the benefits of GOG. Now, if you're familiar with GOG, you can skip this part, look at the timestamps and go directly to the sales section. But for those who may have not heard of GOG or who are not familiar with it, just wanted to briefly talk about some of the benefits you get when you buy games here. So first and foremost, GOG, what is GOG? GOG stands for Good Old Games. Now they are a Polish company. They are a sister company to CD Projekt Red. So they're part of the CD Projekt group. So CD Projekt Red makes Witcher games, Cyberpunk, things like that. Now their idea here is to make games last forever. So they take game preservation very seriously. They also make sure that all the games will run on the latest Windows, all the games on their platform, on their store. The other benefit of DRM-free games is you don't need a launcher to play these games. You can directly download them to your hard drive installers and then play them. You also get full ownership of your games. Unlike other platforms where you get a license for the game, here you actually own the games. So they are yours. You can do what you want with them. They also have a 30-day no strings attached refund policy. Good support, direct contact with the team. And so recently, with the increase in pricing of indie games, especially, you may have heard, like with the regional pricing on Steam and other platforms slightly going up, I've started buying more games here. And in the past, what I used to do was basically, if there was a game I really loved, I would buy it on GOG. So it's similar to say, let's say you play a game you really enjoyed, then you go out and buy the collector's version of it or the steelbook version or stuff like that. This is kind of similar to me because GOG sits nicely between the physical game ownership and the digital license thing. So you own the game, you have all the extras, you get all the artwork and the goodies that you would normally get, like a map or something. And of course you own them. So if you, let's say you have a big hard drive or something, you can keep the installers downloaded on your hard drive and they'll run whatever latest Windows is. And if the Windows gets updated, the people here at GOG, they go and make sure everything works on the latest Windows. They try their best to update all the games so that they work. There's even like a full documentary made by NoClip. You can watch that to understand the philosophy behind this platform. So these are some of the things that I really like about them. And so if there's a game that is similarly priced on GOG compared to Steam and it's a single player game, I'll definitely get it on GOG. Now, one of the only downsides and the reason I haven't bought more games here is because GOG doesn't offer regional pricing, at least for me in India. So there is sometimes a big difference. So that is the only reason I would still stick to Steam. Of course, there are other things like multiplayer and stuff like that. Now, GOG has their own launcher as well, the GOG Galaxy client, which you can use to connect games from other platforms as well. But yeah, I can see why Steam would be a more established launcher for that. So anyway, the main benefits, once again, quickly, is you own the games here. They are DRM free, so you don't need to download them. They are updated to work with the latest Windows. And in a lot of places, the price is identical. So if you are in the US, for example, the games will be the same price on GOG and Steam. There won't be any difference. So for me, in that case, I would definitely buy on GOG. So that is the benefit here. Now let's get on to the sales. So first we start off with Middle-earth: Shadow of War Game of the Year edition. So this was a pretty groundbreaking game when it first came out in terms of its combat. Very fast, fluid combat. The gameplay was fantastic. The enemy AI, the Nemesis system, that was amazing, and so far has only been used in the 2 Middle-earth games. I would love to see stuff like that in other games. But overall, a very fun action game. A lot of interesting moves and combat is fast as well. So this is 75% off, $499. Next is another, you could say, groundbreaking game. This is Batman Arkham Asylum Game of the Year edition. So as you can see here, I'm recommending games that have been some of the best games that have come out in the last 10-15 years. So when this first came out, the Batman Arkham Asylum game, this was widely considered the best superhero game. And someone like me who doesn't really care about superhero stuff, or comic books, like superhero comic books, even I found it entertaining, and I actually finished the whole thing. So this is 75% off, $5 once again. Next is the classic. This is the Wheel of Time. Once again, this is from 1999, FPS style game, and I was actually impressed by the graphics of this one. Now, if you have a look here, for a 1999 game, it looks pretty decent. So this is on my wish list as well. I'm interested in trying it out. I think this might be an Unreal or something, so might actually be a fun game. Next is the Suffering Ties That Bind. So a bit of a third-person action, I think shooter, maybe, yeah, shooter survival horror, and this is only on GOG. So as I mentioned, some games on GOG are not available on Steam. So since they are focused on game preservation, you may find some games only here and not on Steam. Next is Railroad Tycoon 3. So once again, another game that I loved playing back in the day. You manage your own train company, and you get different maps across the world, and you set up your train stations and railway lines across and transport stuff and things like that. So fun classic game, and this is $249, 75% off. Anno 1503, somewhat forgotten now, but I remember this as the first game I had pre-ordered some 20 years ago. And yeah, it does have a spot in my heart, this series and this one in particular. So yeah, if you like classic city builders, this is definitely something you can check out. They have all the others as well. There's 1701, which is a little newer than this. I think came out after this. There's 1602, which is the original. 1404 might be the best of the classics if you want to see something in terms of big city building. Next is SWAT 4, a tactical squad-based FPS game. Simulation, so it's not just go out, shoot everything. You have to make decisions in this one as well. I think mission-based structure. So this is once again 50% off, $5. Of course, we have Fallout 3 Game of the Year edition with all the modding and stuff that people do. I think getting it off GOG makes more sense. This is 67% off, $659. Next is another interesting shooter. This is Singularity. I think this is FPS. Yes. I've heard that this has a bit of an interesting story to it. I think some time travel or something. So I've always wanted to play this, but one of the issues with Activision games is these don't have good regional pricing, even on Steam. This is 67% off, $989, and this is from 2010. Next, we have Robin Hood, The Legend of Sherwood. So this is more of a tactical strategy style game. I think you could say this is similar to stuff like Shadow Tactics or something. And this is very cheap once again, 75% off, $199. Hard Reset Redux, so another FPS cyberpunk themed. This is available on Steam as well, but it's quite cheap here as well, so you could get it here. It's $2, 90% off. Return to Castle Wolfenstein from 2002. This is $199, 60% off. The Blades of Time limited edition. So this is something I came across only recently. This is a hack and slash style of game, and yeah, I had not heard of this game. Looks interesting, so might be worth a look. Timeshift. So another game that I heard about a while ago, but I haven't heard anything much recently. So FPS with some time travel elements, I guess. Next is Industria. Now I already mentioned Industria on one of my Steam videos. So this is again a very interesting FPS game, very heavily inspired by stuff like Half-Life. It's got an interesting feel to it. Set in 1989, just at the fall of the Berlin Wall. So 80s feel, and there's also some sort of, let's say, time travel elements, although it's not necessarily time travel, but you'll see what I mean if you were to play this game. This is 50% off, $10. Spec Ops The Line, so another very thought-provoking shooter game, I should say. Starts off as a standard third-person shooter, but once you get further into the story, you see what the game is trying to show you. Bit of a surreal experience. So this is 80% off, $6. Myst Masterpiece Edition. So this is one of the first sort of walking simulator style games, if you will, or the puzzle adventure style games, where back in the day they used sort of pictures and things to go past the limitations of the graphics at the time. And I remember like a long time ago reading about this as being one of the best innovative games ever made. So I've always been curious to try this, and now there's a Masterpiece Edition. Then we have Dying Light Definitive Edition. Once again, I've mentioned this game on Steam. Great parkouring FPS zombie killing game. Love the very busy city environment, and the first person parkour in this was amazing. I think the best first person parkour I've seen in any game. Next we have F.E.A.R Platinum Edition. So another sort of psychological horror style FPS game from 2005, I think. And again, a game with a lot of hype, and I've heard great things about this one. I have bought this for myself. This is $149, 85% off. I think the Platinum Edition includes a couple of expansions as well. So there's Extraction Point and Perseus Mandate. So you see the classic stuff where you actually got good content when they said DLCs or expansions, and all of it for just $149. Next is Dragon's Dogma, so another game I've mentioned already. I'm mentioning this because it is available here, and I've not seen other Capcom games like the Resident Evil games here, so it's good to see this here. They have announced a sequel to this as well. It's just celebrated its 10th anniversary, and you could say if you like stuff like Skyrim, you should enjoy this as well. So this is 84% off, $479. So yeah, that's a quick look at the deals here on GOG. Of course, there are lots more. You can go into the spring sale section here, choose a genre or category, and pick a game. So you could go into RPGs or classics or strategy, action, adventure. There are some bigger games as well, like Sony's Horizon Zero Dawn is here as well. So you can download this without a launcher, something as new and big as this. So yeah, plenty of options here. I've recently started buying more games over the last couple of years on GOG. So apart from like one or two multiplayer games, I mostly play single player games. So it makes more sense for me to get them here, especially if I plan to, visit them in the future and stuff like that. So yeah, let me know what you think of GOG, if you use GOG. And I know a lot of people, especially here in India, don't use it because of the price difference. There is no regional pricing. But if the price is the same, would you consider, using GOG more? Anyway, thank you for watching, and see you next time.